This is the next morning and I'm going to the south of Costa Rica to see my best friends. I will have at least a 7-hour bus trip from now, but we have air conditioning and I can work on my computer. Unfortunately, this bus is without internet, so let's see what species we can find in the south. I'm finally back in Nelly with my little chiquitita. Her name is Georgia. We already made a film together and this is our first evening and we want to see if we can find some more frogs or birds like owls. And it's a lot of mosquitoes here, but I get used to it, right? Let's see what we can find. Vamos a buscar a ranas y lechuzas y con mis Pocahontas. Oh, nada más Pocahontas. Es corto pelo.
Jamiri and his wife Marilyn are really good in finding anything that moves, and also if it doesn't, like this resting snake.
Dani, Dani, Dani. Hey, back. Oh, qué lindísimo.
It's a Bothrops asper or terciopelo. My eagerness to discover wild creatures is unquestionably often greater than my knowledge about them. I rarely encounter wild snakes, so I had to get close to them to take some macro shots, of course. My species info research started back home. I found out that it can grow up to 2 meters in length, and it isn't just poisonous.
Ooh, this is one of my first times that I found a snake. And it's a tiny one, but my friends told me it's very, very poisonous, so we shouldn't get too close. But I just can't resist to get closer because it looks amazing. And we have not seen it, we almost stepped on it. Have a look.
It's the most dangerous snake in Costa Rica. Almost half of all the snake bites here are caused by them. If it's feeling threatened, it will usually flee from danger, but it could also quickly change its direction to defend itself and bite. In fact, they cause several human deaths a year within their range, and if their bites are treated too late, people will stay with severe necrosis, and often these affected limbs have to be amputated.
I'm with my little chiquitita at the river, and we just found a venomous snake and a very ugly spider, big spider. No me gusta mucho.
This fishing spider is harmless. It mainly eats insects, and some larger individuals are able to catch some small fish. Not us.
Es como, no es mosca, ¿no? Es como insecto de agua posible.
But we're here to find some frogs rather. And these are some of them.
This is my new assistant team. One is carrying my 2 light lens, which is a great thing. This is my biggest and my first assistant, Georgia, and our frog finder, Jamiri. It's the next wonderful morning. Finally, we have no wind and no rain, and we're heading out to find some colibris close to the river. It's hot already. It's not even 8 o'clock, but it's really melting hot.
When I visited my friends last time, they've been still living in a true oil palm district outside of Nelly. But in the meanwhile, they have moved here to Caracol Norte and built their own little house. Forests have largely disappeared from the territory of Nelly, mainly converted into oil palm plantations. But here in Caracol Norte, at least some secondary forests are still abundant. The little stream behind their house, called Rio Caracol, still looks clear and enjoyable.
Totalmente tatuaje.
This was something new to me, printing on skin with fern leaves.
Oh, qué lindo.
Native residents like my Tico friends here may often know very simple but wonderful secrets of nature. The white fern structures on my arm are made of fern spores, which are produced by the sori or soros, which is a special term for clusters of sporangia located at the underside of the fern leaves.
It's a very beautiful place at the natural river here, and we just found some monkeys. I don't remember the name, they are kind of yellow and I find them very, very cute, but I wasn't able to make a film for you yet. Only photos, but let's have a look.
This is a Central American squirrel monkey, the smallest of all 4 monkey species found in Costa Rica, and it's endemic here at the Pacific coast and south to the northwest tip of Panama. 2 subspecies exist, and this one here is the Rara citronellus. It's listed as vulnerable mainly due to habitat loss by deforestation, hunting or capturing them to make them pets. Not surprisingly, as squirrel monkeys are very clever. In fact, they have the largest brain of all primates.
Hola chiquitita. El río es el lugar favorito de chiquitita.
My friends have no car, no hot water, and have to work hard. But what a joy for their daughter to grow up here, being able every day to enjoy time swimming and playing with her friends in the river, so close to the house. Georgia wanted to show me how she is swimming underwater, holding her nose closed with one hand, since she didn't trust my snorkel mask. Not the way to prepare for the ocean, though. She truly loves animals and wanted to play with her dog Mob here, who rather was scared of the water. What a joy for her though, especially when Mob came out of the water and shaked himself dry near me filming them. Next try to make him more waterproof.
We just found a female Jacobin, but we're not yet sure which species it is. It's beautiful, it's a large hummingbird, so we have to look in our book. It's very confident it doesn't go away, and I'm filming it for you here. So let's have a look at the video.
This tiny orchid is getting moisture and nutrients from the surrounding without affecting its host plant. It only gets about 70 months old and is an excellent model for research and commercial purpose as well as medical use.
Me and my friend, we have just found the white-whiskered puffbird, which is amazing. And me and Jaimiri went to photograph it and I made a short film. I didn't bring my tripod, unfortunately, but you will see the video now. It's a very special rarity here in Neli, or close to Caracol.
White-whiskered puffbirds are found in 4 subspecies, from southeast Mexico south to central Ecuador, and different forest types up to 1,200 meters. Here in Caracol, it's represented in the nominate form. They often perch singly or in pairs, quietly on a low to middle-level branch, keeping an eye out for possible prey. With their large bills, they can catch large insects, spiders, frogs and lizards, which they often beat against the branch prior consumption. This afternoon we decided to hike upstream. Jay had told me about a beautiful waterfall up there, where we could swim and also might find some hummingbirds. That indeed sounded very promising to me. Caracol is also surrounded by several oil palm plantations and cow fields, and the children's school and slaughterhouse on the only street are the only communal buildings here so far. So everything around farming oil palms or cows are the major available jobs here. So what can you do better in your free time than just enjoying wildlife in the remaining forests? But as usual, most of my travel trips are some kind of adventure, also today.
This tree had just fallen by all the rain. They haven't been here yet. Yeah, this is how it goes. 2 cameras. Unfortunately, some Byron boots. That work. ¿Tú quieres nadar? Finally, I could swim in a natural rainforest river, which I always wanted to do. And it's beautiful, it's very fresh. First I felt it was so cold, but once again, this is the hot tropics at the moment, so it's a real refreshment. And I'm still standing on the fallen tree. I have to see how to make my way to my friends. They're already there, trying to film them. Woo! I'm with my two cameras. One camera, second camera. Ah yeah, and the third is my phone, of course.
Sometimes the journey is a reward, isn't it?
Have a look.
And another fallen tree we had to crawl through.
Aquí es final o más? Ah.
Pero acá no está alto, acá no vamos muy arriba.
Más arriba.
Como 3 más.
Okay.
On our way back, we took the easier way on the road and checked for some birds at the edge of an oil palm plantation. I was exhausted of climbing and carrying this heavy lens with me during all the heat. And you can't even understand all the rubbish I'm saying here with this lovely gimbal.
This, fortunately, or not fortunately, however, I really love the mountain species. So I'll always in mountains again and get a real big heading. But the species here are amazing. For me, the most beautiful birds you can find are in the high mountains, anywhere in the tropics.
We found a kettle of raptors circling high up in the sky, consisting of mainly white-collared swifts and some black and turkey vultures, maybe some plumbous kites, and a good number of swallowtail kites. They all have been gliding on a thermal current to catch insects. Often in front of storms, the air sucks up insects into the stratosphere. Here, one of the swallowtail kites.
This is our next day in Neli, and the taxi is just arriving. We're going to Golfito, but we're going to Golfito with the bus, otherwise it's too expensive. It's again a beautiful morning. This night I got once again stitched by mosquitoes, and we gotta get ready. Now we're on the way to Golfito. We have nice sunshine, mucho viento, mucho sol, y chiquitita, mi mío. Manuel, ¿tienes un bote?
Vamos a ir a Punta Arenitas, Playa Cacao, Las Coachas. Muchos pecarí, tal vez. 30 tal vez. Fácil, como comiendo coco.
Ajá.
No, ella sí ha visto, pero muy pocos.
So actually, as you might know, I'm vegetarian, but for myself, I can eat some fish sometimes if it's fished right from the ocean, so without a net. Some might think it's controversial. I don't like to support any of the industry fishing. So I don't buy fish from supermarkets anymore, but today might be an experience for me. I won't kill them, but I must admit I would like to eat one fish again.
And our boat trip could start.
Once again, on a nice kind of lake, something I like when I go on holiday.
Golfito is Costa Rica's most southern port town, near the Panaman border. We're heading out from the Golfito Bay, which is part of the larger Golfo Dulce, which is separated by the open Pacific Ocean by Osa Peninsula. Golfito is one of the major sport fishing destinations of Costa Rica, but sorry, what a stupid hobby that is to torture fish for fun. We rather come here with a plastic bag to bring fish home for food. And it couldn't be more easy than this. This fish was about to die anyways. Jay catched it quickly. It might have been a young golden trevally. And look how proud he was about the first catch of the day. Jay and Manuel prepared their hooks with baits, and it didn't take long until they catched some young red snappers. There are over 60 types of snappers here in Costa Rica, but only 3 are usually seen. The Golfito area alone has over a dozen snapper species. Red snappers can reach over the size of 1 meter with an average lifespan of 20 years. My friends rarely eat fish nor meat. Food in supermarkets here is super expensive and they don't live close to the sea, so their basic diet is vegetarian and locally farmed.
Dani?
Sí.
Ok. Bájale el... Toca, toca.
Uf.
No, toca.
Sí.
Duro. Ok. Aquí. Toca aquí. Es seguro de él.
Sí, sí, sí. More dead fish. I'm happy with stuff, but we got nice ones for the next evenings, I guess. We're heading out to a very nice beach and trying to find some of the great curaçaos, which are one of my very favorite birds. And this island seems to be very, very nice, but a real island is just a half one. We're actually right on the ocean, which is behind me. There's Marilyn, there is Georgia.
The good refreshment for them is always one of their limons. Well, I prefer them chilled as juice with sugar from the fridge. Excellent to quench your thirst. And we're almost there! A breathtaking palm beach, and the first one I see in Costa Rica with no black sand.
Material del río. Sí. Espérese, Georgia, que su papá la saque.
Ay, hay barro. Don Delfin.
And just imagine, no one lives here, just Dolfin, the gardener, whom I'm meeting next.
Very nice island here. Seems like no one is here, just us. So quiet. And we're gonna film some peccaries. Oh, my friends are already with peccaries. They are wild, but they feed them here. Oh, it's so beautiful here.
A dream beach with a large house and chicken together with coconut eating peccaries in the garden. The great curaçaos just left the party. What, you want more?
Hola, buenos días. Soy Dani desde Holanda.
Soy Delfin.
These colored peccaries only get tame like this in areas where they're not hunted. And even if it's prohibited to hunt in Costa Rica for sports, killing to eat animals is not. And peccaries are intensely, continuously and increasingly persecuted here. They are locally named as chanchos and found widespread throughout much of the tropical and subtropical Americas, even on agricultural land and cities where they're consuming garden plants. Reminding me of our European wild pigs. But in fact, peccaries are only distant relatives and not part of the pig family. But also peccaries are omnivorous and eat a huge variety of foods, starting from cactus and coconut to vertebrates and even poisonous snakes, which they tear apart before eating. They usually live in groups of 2 to 50, but most commonly 5 to 15 individuals, and sleep in burrows, often on the roots of trees or on the logs or even in caves, and can reach an age of 25 years. They usually ignore humans, but will react and defend themselves with their tusks if feeling threatened. But enough of the peccaries. My big love are the cracids, and I finally found my first great curaçao female perching in this tree. They are scientifically called Quax rubra, and the females are much more colorful compared to the mainly blackish males that only have a white belly and a yellow knob on top of their bill.
Shitting on me. Doesn't like me. Uh-oh.
But in the typical slow walking manner of cracids, she left the tree again. So I followed up my friends into the forest where they have been observing even 2 females.
great thing is if you have found a paradise and you want to spend the night here because you think it's too beautiful, but then you find out that the boats will cost you at least $80 to be picked up here from this paradise place again, which is a pity. So I already found my crux. Actually, this place is full of craxurubras, great curassows. And we also found a very interesting dove, but I couldn't film it yet. So one of the best places I've visited so far.
These curassows are found in the neotropical forests from East Mexico throughout Central America to West Colombia and Northeast Ecuador. I'm able to film these two females from a short distance, which not can be taken for granted, as these birds, despite their huge range, are rarely found except in protected or remote areas. Start with finding them online or in books. They are described as game birds. And indeed, they are still hunted today by local inhabitants and indigenous people for meat and eggs. And the indigenous people sometimes grow up their chicks together with their chicken, since they are tamed easily. But as usual, their main problem of decline is habitat loss due to logging or hurricanes, and additionally predation of feral cats and dogs now, so they are presently listed as vulnerable. Their ongoing rapid declines across their extensive range. So they only tolerate people getting near to them where they don't have to fear them, like here. Compared to the blackish males, craxurubra females exist in 3 major colomorphs, and these can still differ by region. There's the barred, rufous and dark morph, and the smaller subspecies griscomi, found on Cozumel Island, Mexico, with yet a different coloring. Here in Costa Rica we find the rufous morph, and this female here is searching around for something edible. They love fruits, berries and seeds, which they mainly pick from the ground. And additionally, they may eat some arthropods and small vertebrates, inclusive small mammals such as rodents, to supplement their diet. These curassows are usually seen singly or in small groups, foraging on the forest floor, but roost and nest in trees. Once they have found the right partner, they seem to live monogamous and stay together all their life long. I'm enjoying so much to see their curly crest feathers being raised. What a fancy wig! It's only my second time filming craxurubras in the wild, and I could have continued till sunset. The closest living relatives of the craxurubras are the blue-billed curassows, endemics from Colombia, which I filmed in 2019. They have evolved separately from the craxurubras when the Andes were uplifted around 6 million years ago. Unlike chicken, cracids don't scratch for food with their feet, rather use their strong bill to turn the leaf litter, like you can see here. Curassows have a very interesting sound repertoire, starting from soft, high lingering whistles to very low-pitched booming calls of the males. But these two ladies here have all been silent. Craxurubras are found to nest 6 to 30 meters high up in the trees, often in abandoned raptor nests, or male build a small new nest, mainly out of leaves, in which the female will lay 2 to 4 eggs in the size of a goose egg. Freshly hatched chicks are very agile and leave the nest as soon as they are dried up, but chick mortality is quite high. Known predators of adult craxurubras are the ocelots and ornate hawk eagles. So no wonder that males in captivity are told to be aggressive by times, attacking their human caretakers, in defending themselves and their territory against even larger predators. They can get fairly old. There's a record of 12 years for a wild bird and 24 for one in captivity. But with their slow reproduction rate in the wild and large chick mortality, hunting on them should be totally prohibited if we want to ensure their survival in the next millennia. I'm just filming 2 craxurubras, great curassows, sandbathing. This is the first time I've seen this in the wild. It's more than amazing. These 2 females felt comfortable enough in my presence to take a very intense sand bath. Oops, I guess I just disturbed her now with my camera shutter. But it was the other female that now claimed the perfect sandbar spot for herself.
Pero vamos. 9 years.
Exactamente. Igual de Trogon. Yo sé eso. This is how a good friend should be. Get you water apples from the tree if they don't fall. Climbing like a monkey. That's great.
Some lucky people like Dolfin's boss can afford to buy paradise places like this as holiday destination, and happy Dolfin can work and live here. But by this choice he can only rarely see his family.
Todo precioso también, con el propio dueño de eso, Abraham. Es un lugar igual que acá o más lindo.
Más lindo.
Un día de estos podemos ir aquí a la vuelta.
Pero con gentes.
¿Ah?
Menos naturaleza, menos animales, con gentes.
Sí, muchos animales igual.
Igual.
No tan mansos, son más ariscos, pero sí se ven donde llegan a comer también. Igual que acá, igual. Pavones, chanchos, de todo igual.
Wow.
Sí. La misma dueña de acá, el mismo dueño, todo esto, todo eso, hasta allá, el mismo dueño, toda la montaña.
Y más dulces, qué rico, más dulces. This place was definitely far beyond belief. I didn't know that we would end up here. We knew that we would go to some beach, but that it would be a bird's heaven. Like all of the other times when I visited little paradises like this, I never have time to stay long. So means I have to come back, which will be my at least 4th time in Costa Rica, but it will take some years from now.
A brown pelican came flying to our boat. How lovely! They live at the Atlantic, Gulf and Pacific coast in the Americas, and the subspecies carolinensis is the one found in Costa Rica, which non-breeding range extends from southern New York to Venezuela. It's the smallest of all 9 pelican species, but yet has a wingspan of 2 meters. They are piscivorous, means they primarily feed on fish and are nowadays often found near boats and fishermen, where they are tolerated in varying degrees. Back in the early 20th century, hunting was the main cause of death. The pelican flying along us reminded me strongly of the David Attenborough's 4 flying swans alongside his boat scene. Finally, we reached to a beach where Georgia was allowed to swim, as the beach didn't drop that deep there. She was much looking forward to it. But it was quite a chill coming out of the water again with these clouds.
Unfortunately, we got a weather change, which means if we see that the weather is going to be bad, we have to be returning very quickly because it's going to be a lot of rain. And also the waves is very quiet in the morning, but in the afternoon it's going to be very, very tough actually. So I thought we had some more time, but no, this is how it goes in the tropics when you found paradise. It's got to be very quick. have a look at the clouds.
Pura vida, Costa Rica, 2 seasons in 1 day. But at least we had a nice sunset sky back home.
We are on the next day and we have a visitor today, which is Álvaro from San Jose. Hola Álvaro. Álvaro es un amigo de Jamiri y Marilyn y es interesado en pajaritos también.
Estoy con el maestro.
Aha, aha.
We're off on a bumpy road uphill again to a better forest area with more birds to wait for us. Jay already played with the next trogon that didn't came out of the foliage, while I spotted this loudest beast of the tropical rainforest, a cicada. Size matters. Finally I could see one, cause chances to hear a dozen of them singing close to you are definitely higher than finding one, let alone getting so close to it. Only males sing, or let's get it straight to the point, they make huge noise. The sound they produce with their drum-like timbales reflects to the hollow abdomen functioning like a sound box. And this literally can be so loud that it can damage human hearing. More than 3,000 cicada species have been described worldwide, and most of them are restricted to a single biographical region. They live on drinking tree sap and spend most of their life underground. Some nymphs only emerge after 13 or 17 years. And then we found a female and her partner male toucan feeding her. There are also advantages to being a female at times.
Buddy.
You see here a pair of yellow-throated toucans. And of course, one fig won't do. But he's well prepared and got some more for her. These little presents did suit her quite well. A little stretch out. And then she went over to pamper him. She did extensively preen his neck and throat feathers, the regions they're unable to reach with their own long bills. That must be true love. Even though they're in general not such peaceful birds, they are well known to be combative in captivity, and also this female is missing a fragment out of her upper bill, most probably a result from a fight. These toucans are largely frugivorous, but like other toucans, they also feed on insects, lizards, snakes, bird eggs and nestlings. There's been a recent reclassification of these toucans. Formerly they have been treated as chestnut mandible toucans, but as a result of new research listed as 1 out of 3 subspecies of the yellow-throated toucans. This subspecies is called swinesoni, which occurs from North Honduras to western Ecuador in humid forests from 100 to 2,500 meters. Too bad my GH5 slowly went out of focus while I took photos with my Nikon. These toucans favor forested areas where they mainly live in the canopy in pairs or in small flocks of up to 6 birds, but sometimes can be found at forest edges and gardens as well. It was cicada time again, and Mrs. Toucan continued to relax and stretch out. What a great life if your man does the job! Jay discovered Costa Rica's smallest woodpecker, the olivaceous picolet. It's a male recognized by its red streaked forehead feathers, which is searching for ants. Muddy lunched with the kids while we continued birding along the street. I took my opportunity to film some of the oropendolas here, which nest nicely decorated one of the few left trees on the cow field. There's 3 types of oropendolas here, and I indeed hadn't filmed the crested oropendolas yet. They are fairly recent invaders to Costa Rica and found near the Panaman border so far. As there are more birds of open habitat, they most probably benefited from deforestation here. Their long hairy-like crests are often difficult to see. But what you see here are birds of the subspecies Melonteros, 1 out of 4 subspecies that are naturally found in tropical Panama and Colombia. It's unclear to me if this yellow-throated toucan would eat these Monstera deliciosa fruits, but definitely its bill is long enough to fish for some oropendola eggs or nestlings. And this time it was quite busy at the nest colony. Birds been flying in and out of their nests, which can be more than 125 centimeters long. and males even did some bowing displays clinging onto them. They are colonial breeders, and each colony has a dominant male, which mates with most of the females. Groups may exist of 15 to 30 females and only 3 to 4 males. Females alone do the incubating part, and the eggs hatch up to 15 to 19 days, and several females help feeding the young together. While the males are only watching the ladies to defend them from invaders and predators. And this reminds me so much of some human cultures, where the proud pasha males are doing nothing else than feeling proud and relaxing, while they're watching their women doing all the housework and growing up their children. I'm definitely glad not being an oropendula. Their main food consists of large insects, fruits and some nectar. And outside their breeding season, they're also quite mobile with regional movements in search for food. These oropendulas have a musky smell produced by their oil gland, which oil is used by the birds to protect their feathers. But a free-ranging chachalaca coming out of a chicken house, that was something new to me. Jay told me that the locals we visited here have raised some gray-headed chachalacas chicks together with their chicken, and they are still staying around the farm and eat the chicken food. It was time for another woodpecker.
Sí. Más difícil. No imposible, pero...
And it's the first time for me to see a golden-naped woodpecker. These woodpeckers are monotypic and only found at Costa Rican and Panamanian Pacific slopes, in subtropical or tropical moist forests or heavily degraded former forests up to 1,500 meters. I'm filming a busy female here, recognized by the lacking red on her central crown, feasting on some ants. Contrary to most other woodpeckers, these woodpeckers mainly eat fruit, like dates, bananas, figs and cecropia fruits. Some insects, such as beetle larvae, supplement their diet, and they are the first woodpeckers I read about doing flight sallies, particularly at dusk, to catch winged termites and other flying insects. But the most interesting thing about them is their social breeding and family behavior. Females usually lay 3 to 4 eggs, and these are incubated and raised by both partners. During this time, the whole family also sleeps in the same nest hole. The young fledge after 33 to 34 days and are fed up to 3 more months by their parents and sleep until the next breeding season with them in a communal nest.
Dani, vamos, Dragón.
Sí. En alguien segundos. I follow you.
This already is quite unusual for any bird, but that's not all.
Es un buen video. Ahorita.
Sometimes a pair does a second brood in a year, and in that case, the young of the first brood might also help with incubating the eggs and feeding their younger brothers and sisters. And also sleep with the whole large family group in the same nest hole. Once again, no luck. Only a black-striped sparrow.
We're trying to find a trogon now. There's actually many trogons here in the forest. And once again, you have to walk in the steep forest. I'm trying to call it. So wish me some luck.
Yes, I know my bad German English sucks by times. I'm indeed a huge fan of trogons and got a bit frustrated not to find any of them during my visit to the south. So another try today. We were accompanied by Jay's neighbor's dog, and since it was a very hot day, Jay thought to offer him some water. Drinking from the tap was not for him, so Jay folded a leaf bowl for him. And then finally we found a black-headed trogon female. A few seconds, et c'est fui. These 2 frogs here then must do for all the hiking job. And in the next early morning I filmed a group of crimson-fronted parakeets, the largest of all Costa Rican parakeets, with a total length of 28 centimeters. Despite their huge distribution from Guatemala to El Salvador, Nicaragua and some parts of Costa Rica and Panama, it's classified as monotypic. Its natural habitat are subtropical and tropical moist lowland forests and heavily degraded former forests up to 1,600 meters. The gregarious birds are usually found in flocks of up to 30 birds, but in common roosts and treetops or palms, sometimes several hundreds can be seen. The union of a pair of these parrots is usually strong. It's something you can see here. Pairs are perching together, preening themselves and their partners, and vocalize within their group. Is just one lovely example of how much parrots need their own kind and the cohesion of their group. They are not our babies. But yes, they are fairly common pets in the USA and less in some other countries. They are indeed still internationally traded in some quantities and also catched by some locals to pet them, since these parrots are highly intelligent and can imitate human voice. But when they're stressed, they can really get noisy, and that's the point again when their human keepers like to get rid of them. These parakeets are loyal to the roosting site, but any kind of disturbance around these sites can make them abandon them forever. They show no sexual dimorphism and can get 15 to 20 years old. Fruits are their main diet, and they have been observed feeding on wood as well, an uncommon habit in parrots. The next parrot, the red lord parrot, is another fairly common pet parrot in the Americas. It's told to be a devoted pet and a fairly good talker, but their average lifespan is up to 80 years. So with good care it can even outlive its human companion. And there's a long tradition in Costa Rica among locals to keep these parrots as household pets. They are considered family members and do fly free in the house. So indeed in some areas, notably parts of Mexico and Venezuela, it had become rare in the wild due to trapping them for cage bird trade. Here in Costa Rica we find the subspecies Salvini, which mainly differs by the nominate in having green cheeks and ear coverts, so lacking the yellow feathers on its face.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué fruta es eso?
No sé.
No sé,
No sé.
pero
Todos le llaman. ¿Cómo era? Un nombre raro. Zapaloma.
zapaloma.
Sí. Palomas. Pi, 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 pi. Picar mucho.
¿Y cómo comer? ¿Cocinando?
Primero los partes a la mitad.
¿Sí?
Le sacas todo. Y todo
¿Hay
lo-
semillas?
Sí. Todo lo que le sacas es para adelgazar.
Ajá,
Engordar.
ajá.
Adelgazar. Adelgaza mucho.
Uy,
Lo pones, los partes, le sacas todos esos, lo friteas en un sartén y con arroz sabe muy rico.
muy rico. Ok, qué bueno.
Y adelgazar.
Ok, entonces no comida mucho.
Georgia confused this calabash fruit, which pulp and seeds are poisonous and only used for medical use, with the edible, delicious jackfruit. She gave me a blade stalk to eat and prepared the next one for herself. She liked it, I didn't.
¡Uah! ¿Posible cocinando eso también?
This is another nice day which ended in Caracol, close to Ciudad Nelly, and we're just having a very nice sunset here. You just got some specially packed from my chiquitita, and we found some very, very nice birds which are actually very rare in this area, which I will not film for you because I was really tired of bringing my film camera, but I made some photos. These ones I will show you now. Buenas noches, see you tomorrow. We are going to San Vito very early.
Today we're heading north of Caracol to San Vito by car, which is a district and head city of the Coto Brus canton in Punta Arenas that was founded by European settlers, mainly Italians, in 1952. It's located in the Talamancan foothills, and our goal are some local rarities which can be found at the Estación Biológico Las Cruces, 6 kilometers south of San Vito. This location has included most Costa Rican birding tours since it has great facilities, well-maintained trails, lots of eBird reports, and birding is easy here.
So this morning we are in San Vito and I'm meeting a very great person, a great friend of my best friends. His name is Greg. Greg, could you please introduce yourself a little bit to my viewers or our viewers and introduce the very nice park where you're living?
Sure, thank you. My name is Greg Homer and I live in San Vito, Costa Rica, down in the southernmost part of Costa Rica, up in the mountains. We live at an elevation of about 1,300 meters, and we're right now on my property, which is called El Tangaral, which means the place of tanagers.
Oh yes.
I'm president of the San Vito Bird Club. We have a community of birders here in San Vito, and our goal is to promote an appreciation of birding and birds. And I'm here with Yamiri and his very beautiful wife, Madeline.
Of course.
Stunningly beautiful. And anyway, we're just out looking for some birds, some photography. Yamiri and Marilyn are both excellent photographers. And
that's true.
Yes, they are, and so are you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you have a website, right? Where
yes, ma'am. Our website is sanvitobirdclub.org. If you go to that website, you'll see pictures of the local birds, plants, butterflies. And if you'd like to join the club, you can join. We have international and Costa Rican members of the Bird Club. And we also support a program for the schools down here, for the school children.
Great.
It's called Detectives de Aves.
Programa.
Yeah, es un programa de Universidad Cornell. It's from Cornell University.
Oh, right.
And we teach the children about birds, bird appreciation, the importance of maintaining the ecosystems for the bird. We do our own funding, so we have fundraisers and people make donations.
Oh, great.
And on the website, if you would like to make a donation to the San Vito Bird Club to help support Detectives de Aves, the name of the program in English is Bird Sleuth. Right next to this property is the Las Cruces Biological Station.
Oh yes, I've been there already.
Also known as Wilson Garden.
Ah, okay.
And we're very close neighbors and very close friends.
All right.
So yeah, but if you're in this area, please drop me a note, and you can do that again through the website as well.
Great. So we are heading out for maybe finding a very nice
black hawk eagle. We're going to be listening for it. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh, another bird is coming. Another bird is coming.
Yeah, the black hawk eagle, it's a giant, huge raptor.
Well, I would like to see that.
It has claws about the size of my hand.
Ah, yes. I've had a ornate hawk eagle in my hands ever. I know how big that is.
So we're listening for that, and hopefully it'll fly overhead, perhaps even perch.
Okay, let's see.
One never knows what one will see out here. That's what makes it so intriguing. The diversity of animal and plant life here is quite astounding.
Great. So let's see if we can find it.
Let's do that.
Black hawk eagles make territorial calls when flying, but are quite silent otherwise. But how to film it several hundreds of meters up in the sky above you?
Hello again. We have a series of trails here at El Tangaral. One of the trails is Sendero Ficus, or the Fig Trail. The other is Sendero Colibri, or the Hummingbird Trail. Right now we're going to take the Fig Trail, the Sendero Ficus, which goes down to a giant, massive, cathedral-like strangler fig. And when it's a very good bird tree. It's a host to a lot of mammals, birds, reptiles, y también culebra. So cuidado, todos cuidado. Hay culebras.
Snakes.
Okay.
So Costa Rica is full of snakes, and
well, it's not full of snakes, but you never know.
Yeah, but I was told all day so far, like, beware the snakes wherever you go, and there might be like very, very poisonous snakes.
Yeah, there's one right. No, we're just. Okay.
Las Cruces Biological Station and Wilson's Garden protect over 300 hectares of middle elevation habitats of predominantly evergreen wet forests.
Most of these cecropia trees have a colony of ants that live inside. You notice there's no epiphytes on this tree at all?
Yeah, they're cleaning the tree.
They are cleaning the tree.
Inside and outside.
Yeah.
So that's why woodpeckers nest in them as well?
Mm-hmm.
Like this you get them out?
Sometimes, not today. Maybe it's their day off.
Is it very necessary for these trees to live with in combination with the ants?
I think so, because you see some trees that don't have the ants, there'll be epiphytes on them and the leaves will be all chewed up. But these leaves, very little predation on them. Perezoso de tres dedos viven en cecropias. A three-toed sloth.
Este está haciendo nido.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is a typical birders in the field scene. Them discussing about their findings with their holy Bible, a bird field guide.
No, listo. Uno más, pero.
Este,
Oh,
la hembra.
Yeah.
Cerca de
Muy
casa.
grande. Como.
Sí, muy grande.
Pero cerca de
Como-
casa.
Yeah. Esto vive aquí también,
Muy bueno,
pero es muy,
botánico.
muy raro.
En el botánico es
Yeah.
más
Una vez con ella. Si lo vimos.
Este come la flor, es centro pogon, es como un nido de la flor, es como un naranja y curvo, perfecto por
por
su
el pico.
Carpintero.
¿Cómo va? ¿Todo bien? Bien. Yeah. Yamiri, Marilyn.
Wilson's Botanical Garden was started to establish in 1963 by Robert and Catherine Wilson, who transferred it 10 years later to the Organization of Tropical Studies for research. In the meanwhile, more than 1,000 species of plants are found here, in particular bromeliads, orchids, bamboos and heliconias, of course.
¿Ves, Dani? Igual en la casa. Pero en la casa es menos probable verlo.
And as well, one of the world's largest collection of botanical plants.
Coati.
It's recognized as one of the best tropical botanical gardens, but I won't see and learn anything about these plants here today, since I have only one big goal: finding a black-crested coquette male, a super tiny but truly beautiful hummingbird. All these birders are seriously a bit nuts. They can even hang out at luxury private resort pools, sweating in long clothes for hours, waiting for the little chance to take some decent photos of a little hummingbird slightly bigger than a bumblebee, instead of jumping in and relax sunbathing in a bikini. This was my first coquette ever, but such a rapid flyer with its 7.5 centimeter body length and 10 centimeter wingspan that I had no chance to film it. They primarily feed on nectar and favor flowers, which nectar has the highest sugar content, maybe the reason why they only remained still for a tiny second. We went back to Greg's house to eat something and do some easy balcony birding. There's lots of tanagers around here, like this silver-throated tanagers. And of course clay-colored thrushes will rarely be missing at Costa Rican's feeders. Or a scarlet rum tanager. The silver-throated tanager exists in 3 subspecies, and the Francii is the only species here in Costa Rica, which is found in the humid highlands here and in West Panama from 600 to 1,700 meters. And also the really beautiful speckled tanagers were visiting the feeders, which share the same habitat, range and food with the silver-throated. They are social birds, which are often found mixed with other songbirds. Both tanager species are mainly frugivorous, but also eat some insects and spiders. But for Chiquitita, it was time now to play a bit with her Barbies instead of birding. Depending on the elevation and climate, silver-throated tanagers may have 2 broods a year. I rarely see warblers, but here's one, the chestnut-sided warbler coming in. I left my camp filming to this balcony, while I focused on the birds in front of the living room balcony. The view to the forest behind Greg's house is magnificent. Slowly, but yes, even a chachalaca is slowly making its way to the balcony fruits. something Helen, Greg's wife, was not amused about. She said they're stealing all the food. But I'm of course more into big chicken than small tanagers, so could convince her not to chase it away. Her concern was not quite odd. Chicken, of course, do eat more. And to my surprise, this chachalaka swallowed a half banana in one piece. Poor chicken that's never getting fed. Then they're not likely to get breakfast eggs from it. The next Costa Rican Panamanian endemic flies in, a spot-crowned Euphonia male. But definitely not allowed was my chicken at the feeder in front of the living room balcony. But the lessons Mot was even better in stealing food. A whole banana even. They are strong. Who would have thought it? I easily got some good clicks of a black-crested coquette female just in front of Greg's house at the end. They unfortunately lack the interesting crest of the males. I read that the females can catch an incredible amount of up to 2,000 insects and spiders a day when nesting. The last bird of this episode is a lineated woodpecker, which I filmed from the bottom of the same high tree. Filming woodpeckers is always fun to me, especially if they're larger, and this species grows up to 36 centimeters long. They have a large distribution and are separated into 5 subspecies, of which you see here the nominate form that's found in East and South Costa Rica, south to several more South American countries. And now I leave you with a few fun parts.
Jamili, más cerca de Greg. So this morning we are in San Vito and I'm meeting a very great person. One second, sorry. Please look in the lens, because then you look to the people which are watching you. I forgot to tell that. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, once again.
Hello!
¡Que no, grábame!
Sí.